Is it working? Hey! It's Friday. Friday. It's Friday. Wake up. Hey, y'all. See, people see that. I should have stayed there for like 5 minutes. Watch my live. Gregory, thank you so much. I love you. Hold on. Why is my camera foggy? It's making me look like the Walking Dead corpse. Oh, there we go. Awesome. Well, everyone, thank you so much, entire beautiful world, for tuning in on TCS Pep Talk, Tiffany Colston Studios, Tiffany Colston and Gregory Delcore. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Today, we are going to be talking once some people get on it. I don't feel like I'm talking to Casper the Friendly Ghost. We'll just give it a minute then. Shoot, I'll give it a minute. Get my coffee. Let my coffee brew.
Now, when people enter, you can see them on the side here?
Oh, can you see that too?
No, I just see that I'm in I just see my profile.
You just see that? Okay, that's what I see. And then do you see where it says like post a comment on the right side? To the right, to the right. Ooh.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, see, there's like one person. Hey. Oop, two. Hey. Hello, guys. How are you guys doing? Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth today. Oh, Lord, help us all. Greg is going to start, please, by telling us all about you. And hold up. And also, I'll give a little introduction. I met Gregory Delcore here. Oh, let's see here. It doesn't really matter how many years, because that would tell our age.
It was 2011.
Was it? No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I think it was right around, 2011, really, 2012. Greg?
Wow. My gosh, you're right. Hold up. Milo was a baby?
Yeah.
Milo was 2?
Yeah. I remember you said you have a little baby, in whatever, toddler. And we did a gig with Night Shift, and it was you, Lena, and Ray. And it was in Ledyard, Connecticut.
And you know what?
Because I took a video of it with my iPad.
Milo was 3 months old then. How about that?
All right, so yeah.
Because she was still, draining me. Shall I say? Still doesn't say. But in a different way.
I'm sure that hasn't stopped.
Different ways hasn't stopped. Same thing. But yeah, she was 3 months old. That was my very first gig. That was with Ray. And Ray does not remember that. Every time I bring this up to him, he never remembers that that's actually the first night that I met him too. So,
okay.
Ever since then, guys, I just want you all to know, if you don't already, that he is the best in every way. Best bass player, best person, best heart, best soul, most trustworthy. And Greg was the very first person that I called to involve in this journey. So thank you for joining the circus.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Of course.
So we have talked to Mark Delcore, his amazing brother, and I got both of them, y'all. Doubled up in trouble. I got a 2-for-1 deal. We started with Greg. And Greg, I was like, Greg, oh my God, I need your help because I need someone to help me with the piano students. And Greg came in, of course, always saving the day and bringing his legendary awesomeness to everything. But I'm going to shut up now and first tell us about you and everything that you've done and talk about the group classes. Oh, because guys, next week is Bring a Friend Week. So bring your homie, bring your friends that aren't cray-cray, so I don't have to kick them out the Zoom, and let's have some fun. All right, go
Right
ahead.
on. Well, I mean, what can I say? In a lot of ways, I feel, I'm sure you feel like this a little bit too, is when I started to learn music or try to figure out what was going on, it was really like the dark ages compared to what it is now. There was no YouTube or um, any kind of place where you could get access to tablature or sheet music. I mean, you'd have to go to the store and find the music if you wanted to go about it that way. But I come from the school where you just had a record. You'd put the record on the turntable and then you would learn the song, and however many times you had to go through it, you had to keep learning and learning and listening and learning and listening and trying it out. If you were lucky enough to have a few friends that were sort of, playing too, then you could kind of like swap ideas, see what they came up with. But there was no like, tutorials or lessons that you could just like look up a song. Now that's what I do now. If I'm learning a song that I've never heard of,
Yep.
I just type it into the search on YouTube, and then inevitably someone comes up with their bass or whatever, their guitar, and they're playing the song. Only problem with that is that a lot of that stuff is wrong. They're
Yes.
playing it wrong.
Yep.
Or they might be playing it right, but the technique is wrong. And what I mean by that is that the technique is something that eventually could cause problems if you're learning how to play in a specific way without kind of going through the proper ways of fingering the instrument or picking the instrument or whatever. You can develop bad habits because the video can't talk back to you, right? You're basically watching it and you're trying to like emulate it as best as you can. So even with some of these tablature sites, like Songster is a popular one. A lot of people use Songster to look up a song, and
Yep.
then they and it gives it to them. A lot of those are wrong because there's no sort of like enforcement of who's uploading material.
Yes.
So so
Exactly.
anyone can put up a song, and what happens sometimes is that if it's not like a bass player, for example, then they just kind of like copy like the guitar one part or something. So it's really not the bass line. It's sort of like somewhat of the harmony, but it's not the actual part.
Yeah.
So that can create its own problem, even though it's easy to get access to learning, it can create other problems. So getting back to where I come from, I just had to learn it by either a tape or a record, or just being in the room, listening to what was going on and trying to figure it out. Right. So that's how it kind of started for me. I was lucky enough to have my grandfather and my father were both musicians. And as they retired and stopped sort of like doing all that stuff, they would just give us their equipment. So we had a whole room full of, amplifiers and microphones and, drums and all kinds of stuff, percussion. Um, I had, I was a bass player. My brother was a keyboard player. So we had all these instruments and we would just kind of like mess around and try to, play the songs as we heard them without any direction or lessons or anything like that. And by the time I was about 10 or 11, I started taking actual lessons. And again, the teacher would just come and be like, okay, it's this to this. There was no tablature back then. It was
Yeah.
like
Okay.
you had to learn the notes. Tablature's okay for a quick learn, but it doesn't teach you harmony or intervals or nothing. It teaches you nothing of substance theoretically. You're just learning positions up and down the neck. Um, so after I started taking lessons, I joined the band. My parents were like, join the band, the school band. I'm like, I can't read music. They're like, oh, just do it anyway. You'll figure it out. Which was kind of hard, but at the same time, I sort of got an idea of what it is to actually play a musical instrument, right? Because you had clarinet players and trombone players and all kinds of different players in this band reading. They put me in the percussion section, and I think I was playing like tambourine or something, just like shaking the tambourine.
Yep.
And I sort of worked my way up. And eventually, by the time I was about 13, 14, I was playing in the JV jazz band.
Aww.
Yeah. The teachers would kind of show me what was up with the music. I started to learn how to read. Um, Not great, but mostly just sort of like chord changes, learning the parts. And then by the time I was in high school, I got into the actual jazz band. And I was playing in the concert band and like the concert choir with the chorus. I was playing like, bass in the chorus, whatever, because they had like a pop, sort of like a pop chorus where they would sing popular songs. And I had decided early on this is what I want to do. When I was about 16, I got my first tape recorder, which was a 4-track Fostex, where you could record on an actual regular tape. And so I started to teach myself how to record and how to, get sounds into this tape machine and then, bounce things down and try to make more room. And so it kind of led to me going to Berkeley when I was 18. I did that for 4 years, which, Berkeley was like, forget everything you learned. Now,
Yeah.
now you're going to do it this way.
Yep.
So, and I always had people tell me, people who are older and more experienced tell me, to be well rounded, you sort of have to go through all of the different schools, all the different, there's learning on the gig, there's actual like legit learning where you're reading music, you're transcribing, So I figured, okay, whatever, I'll take a chance and just try to get as sort of diverse as possible with music and learn everything. I learned early on not to be sort of biased or prejudiced against a certain style. It famously jazz musicians hate country music.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because it's not, it doesn't, it's simplified, but there's something to be said about all that.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
something to be said about simplistic. And also, the more you learn, when you come out the other side, it comes down to really one thing for me is that not everyone is musically gifted or has, advanced ears. Not everyone can appreciate music like musicians can, but everyone loves music. So what it really came down for me is how accessible is music. Someone who is recording a song or putting out a song, what is the access? Like, how many people are you affecting with this music? Um, Without going over their head, without being too technical, and there's definitely genres for that, who people who appreciate more technically advanced music or complicated music with different time changes, different key changes, but it all boils down to how do you get masses amounts of people to appreciate that music? And there's sort of like I think a commonality with all styles of music that has to make it accessible for the listener, or else there wouldn't be such thing as popular music.
Right.
And popular music is, a lot of people criticize it. I mean, it's popular for a reason. It's connecting with the most amount of people.
Yep.
And I think as I've gotten older and have played in a variety of different things, that's really what it comes down to. It comes down to how are you sort of like delivering the music in whatever situation you are to affect the most amount of people so that it can be successful, right? Because if you're just playing to 5 people, I mean, that's great, but that's not really, I think, what anyone's going for. They're going for mass amount of appeal.
Yep.
So along my journey, I've done man, I mean, I think I've played just about
Legend.
every type of gig you can think of. I mean, I've played obviously weddings, anniversaries. I've played gigs where people have been, beaten up. I've had bottles thrown at me. I played a wedding where someone took a heart attack and died.
Wait. Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up.
Night shift at you know where it was? It was where's that? I don't know if it's in Falmouth.
Was
There's
it?
one place we always used to play. I can't remember the name, but it's all the way down. It
I
was with.
feel like I remember that. Was it?
No, you weren't on. I don't think this is.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't on it though, but I
No, you
remember you
weren't.
telling me about that. I think it
I
was
think
Karen's
Karen. It might
uncle.
have been Karen on that one. But yeah, it was
Oh,
like the groom's brother. During dinner, he
oh.
had a heart attack and he died. Um, I've played, I've played gigs where people have jumped up on the stage and started having sex right in front of everybody. That was in
Shut
Provincetown,
up, Gregory.
right? That was in Provincetown. I've had, I mean, you name it, fist fights. I've had fights. I've been involved in fights while playing. I played a gig in Las Vegas where a drunk guy got up on the stage and he had soiled himself because he was so drunk,
Oh,
intoxicated. And Mark can tell you the story. And I kicked him. I kicked him off this little. I literally kicked him in his back off the stage. I mean, whatever. I mean, a lot of this stuff you wouldn't believe that has happened, but
that's
I.
why you were my bodyguard, Greg.
Well, you didn't need a
That's
bodyguard.
that's really what you were doing back there. Besides jamming out, keeping me going.
Well, in that situation, as like whatever band leader, whatever they called me, yeah, I'm looking out for the band.
Yeah,
Not only am I making sure everyone's showing up on time and no one has a wrinkled suit or whatever. It was all or
all of
someone coming in with like smoke like
it. Or
wafting off
speakers.
them. Yeah, I won't mention any names. Nero. But my as a band leader, you're basically like in charge, making sure everyone gets fed, everyone has the right treatment, or is being treated right, and also that the people in the band are not like hanging out at the bar
Yeah,
for the open bar at the wedding or whatever. Making
yeah.
sure everyone has. If it's a 15-minute break, it's 15 minutes. It's not 18 minutes or 25 minutes. Stuff like that. Calling tunes, whatever.
Or not
Dealing
eating
with
in the barn. Was that with you, Greg? When we were at that one? Did they put us in a barn?
in
Was it
Vermont or
with
something.
you?
Yeah, we played in a barn. I remember that.
No, when they had us eat in a barn.
Oh, yeah,
You don't
I'm
even
sure.
remember because it's like, oh, that's normal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Here's your
I wouldn't be
sandwich and your
surprised if they had
pickle.
us eat at a trough somewhere with the pigs
Let me
outside.
shut up. Tell you, I don't know what comes out of his mouth. But yeah,
Yeah,
you've done it all.
if anyone out there is expecting some kind of like superstar treatment
Oh
when
God.
you're playing a gig, ain't happening. I mean, even with Brittany, I played. So this is all going towards that. I guess I started playing with Brittany in 2013, and I did 5 years with her, which was great. I mean, it was great and it was terrible because there's a lot of things that come along with that. You know,
Definitely.
you
Yep.
know that you
Absolutely.
don't even expect,
Yeah.
uh, but even with that gig, there was every single night that we played. I used to go out from the back after I talked to Tiffany because I used to talk to you a lot. I remember on the phone.
Oh yes.
I would get dressed, or before I got dressed, I would walk around just to see what kind of crowd it was, um, and kind of get a feel of what was going on because it varied. Wednesday nights were different from Saturday nights, Thursdays, and Friday. It was weird.
Yep.
And I would re-enter through the main entrance, and every single time I came in, there was this one lady there. I can't remember her name, but she would stop me and be like, "Where's your ticket?" And I'm like, "Come on, I'm playing the show." And she's like, "Well, I'm gonna need to see some identification." This happened.
Every
It,
night.
it happened 200 times, maybe.
That's terrible,
Yeah,
Gregory.
to the point where I called her supervisor. I
I
got
don't
really
blame
upset
you.
because I was like, can you straighten her out?" And he was wearing a pass. I mean, I have it right here.
Oh, I want to see
For every
Zara.
run that we did, we would get a pass, right? So here's one. right?
This is the Britney Spears pass.
Yeah, this is one pass. I can't
Okay,
tell
so
you.
you had this on,
Yeah, here's
and she
another
was
one.
acting brand new.
Yeah, I mean they would change colors, obviously, right? The picture's the same though,
Yep,
right?
yep.
The same guy in the picture. Wait, same guy. And she'd be like looking at the pass like, I'm like, now you're a counterfeit expert, ma'am. You're scanning tickets at a show. You're not going to be working for the CIA anytime soon. Like she's trying to, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So basically, what I'm trying to say is that whatever you have in your head of how something is going to be, it's not that.
Yeah.
100%, it is not that. You kind of have to make it what you want it to be, and a lot of it is just kind of dealing with crazy situations, and like the old saying goes, the show must go on. You
Yep.
got to find a way to finish the performance and do the best that you can so that obviously you get more work, or if people go back and start talking about it, they talk favorably of what they had just witnessed and whatever. But and along with that, I wrote music back in 2000, oh man, 2002, 2003, almost 20 years ago, for an artist from Czechoslovakia, which had broken up after the Iron Curtain fell and became Czech Republic and the Slovak Republic. And I had a friend from Berkeley that did a tour uh, throughout that whole country. We actually went as far as the border of Ukraine, which is
I think you
kind of
told me this, Greg.
this is and Mark was on that one as well. Freedom Bremner from the Screaming Headless Torsos was the singer. So it was like a quartet, I think, and we just played all around uh, Czech Republic, Slovakia. Um, we went sort of to the border of Poland, the border of Hungary, and the border of Ukraine, and then the other side was the border of Austria. So we were in that sort of like Central Europe area, and during that tour, I met a girl who was singing jingles for the popular radio station. They would use her to sing because she had a really good English accent, and she could convert the Slovak language into English really easily. So they would use her as sort of like the jingle person. So she would re-sing, like a Rihanna song or whatever, and then use the station ID, whatever it was. It was Fun Radio. So she would sing like, whatever Rihanna song at the end, it should be like Fun Radio. She could kind of make her voice like anyone. So this girl, we became friends, and she says to me one day, she's like, they want me to audition for this Coca-Cola pop star. Now, Coca-Cola pop star in Europe is like American Idol here, right? Only that they can't call it American Idol because it's over there. But Coca-Cola sponsors it. They have a big competition with judges, the whole 9 yards, and whoever wins, and all no-name artists are, you can't be a well-known artist,
Yeah.
obviously. And whoever wins gets a 3 record contract with Sony Music and gets their song in a Coca-Cola commercial. So she didn't have a band, she didn't have music. She was just this station jingle singer. And I said, yeah, I can write you some songs. So I wrote her like 4 songs or something. She came here to America. Uh, this is this is right around the time everything went to computer, like digital, right? But there was really no DOS systems or anything like that. It was very, very basic. So we did everything, I think, on ADAT tape, which is digital audio tape. It was the big like cassettes. And I gave her the tape and I sent her back with it. And like 4 months later, I got the CD in the mail. She used all my tracks. She used everything. She just re-sang it over there. Had someone produce it, mix it all together. And the album went to #1, stayed there for like 2 months or something. And then she was nominated for 7 Grammys in her country. She won 4, including Song of the Year, which was the song I wrote. Artist of the
Aw.
Year. Yeah, yeah. And it was the first, believe it or not, the first sort of like R&B music done by an artist in that country. So it was kind of special. It was a one of a kind type of deal. And I ended up staying over there for like close to 3 years, touring, doing TV, doing all the stuff for promotional for her. She sold like a few million records, CDs, which for back then was pretty good. This is before Napster started
Yep.
to take over the world and all that stuff, and then streaming, and there was none of that. You had to buy the CD to hear it, or you could hear it on the radio. And then from there, I got more work out there. People wanted me to play bass on a record or tour with them or produce some music or write some music. And I did that until about 2005, I think. And then I came back here to the States, and I worked with a guy who is from Natick, Massachusetts. His name is Eddie Grenga, who also is a producer and did like the California Raisins. That was his big claim to fame. He did the California Raisins commercial and produced the music for it. So he started getting into TV movies for Lifetime, and
Oh, yes.
so I did 2 movies with him. One was called Last Hours in Suburbia, and I don't even know what the name of the other one was, like something about sexting. I don't know. Um, you know,
Hey,
you do all the
Stevie.
work, and then you hear about the title after, and you're like, really? I did all that work for that? But so I got to get knowledge about how that world works, which is a completely different world from the touring world or the recording world, original music world, the whole TV movie world, doing edits and doing something for like 18 seconds. So that was kind of interesting because he really didn't have scores. He would have to say, like, I got this one part, you got to come up with a bass line.
Who?
So yeah. So and then I would come up with the bass line. He's like, "Well, come up with 3 more that are different." And then he would be like, "Okay, now take a solo." So a lot of that kind of stuff is like composite work, which means that they might have 100 different things that you got to whittle down to like 7, and you pick and choose. You might have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's much more like a puzzle, piecing it together. So that was fascinating. I did some of that work, and then I started working with Tiffany a few years later. Right, we started doing our thing, which we had a really good time, actually.
Did we? Did we?
I think we did. Yeah, we had
Tell
a
me
good
about it,
time.
Greg. I
I
don't know if
mean,
I
you have to laugh at all these.
remember.
You have to laugh at all these people taking something way
We
too
did.
serious. I mean, hey, listen, I'm all about love and marriage and, having a party and
That's
celebrating that.
right.
But I mean, come on, get over yourselves, people. I
That's
mean,
right. We did. We did it up, Greg.
we did it. Well, we did it to the
We
point. I
did
think
it up.
we made the top 10, but Boston, the top
Yeah.
10 of Boston.
Yep.
Um, and then, you think that once you hit that sort of success, then everybody is going to be working even harder. But that's when things start breaking apart, as
Yes.
right? People
Yep.
start developing attitudes. Well, I want more money,
Yep.
or I don't want to sing so many songs because my voice gets raspy,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Um,
Let's change the key.
yes, let's
But
change the
not me.
key.
I sing everything in the original key,
That's
guys.
correct. That is correct. And Tiffany was up against Lauren. What was her name?
Oh, Lauren Allred.
Lauren Allred, who now
Never,
it's. Did you see her?
never.
Yeah. She's singing with Bocelli.
She sure is.
She was just here. I think they were just here in Vegas doing
Yep.
something.
Yes.
Have you seen her?
So freaking proud of her. I am
I'm
so
proud of her,
proud
but
of
what
her.
happened? I don't recognize her. She looks like she went like what happened? She had like a massive makeover or something.
Did
Her
she?
hair is all like
Well, she has naturally curly hair, really.
oh, she was
So I
straight.
guess she just let it out.
She let it get
But yeah,
kinky.
when you go on the road, then there you go.
Well, I know from her, um, she said that she couldn't really do anything because the voice made her sign a contract.
Oh yes,
So I don't know.
yes,
It was like for 7 or 8 years that she couldn't
yeah.
sign with another
The
label,
Voice,
nothing.
American Idol, they do that. They lock you down. They
Yep.
lock you in.
Yeah.
So people are
And
like, oh my gosh, you should do American Idol. Oh my gosh, you should do The
no,
Voice.
see, people don't realize is that when you try to do something like that, they're actually locking you in, win or lose.
Yes,
You
yes,
can't like you're basically their property for an extended period. And I know, of course, everyone signs the contract, and
that's
then
right.
they find out about it later, and they're like, "What?" There was another girl.
Oh,
You remember the band In Vogue? Not In Vogue. Was it In Vogue? No, no, not In Vogue. It was a band that sang. It was three girls, and like, well, right, that limits it to what a couple hundred bands. But they sang "Let Me Be the
were they black?
One." Huh?
Were they black?
No. No, one girl was like Polynesian, Hawaiian sort of, and there was two other white girls, blonde, blonde hair, uh brunette, and then like a redhead, whatever.
Oh,
Let
Charlie's
me
Angels.
No, no, it wasn't, but they looked like Charlie's Angels. You would never, you couldn't tell the difference. But what was the name of
Oh,
the band? Expose was the name of the band. Back in the 80s.
oh,
Probably no one was born yet that's listening to this probably. But they had a bunch of hits. She was in Vegas like in the mid 90s. They would not allow her to sing any of her hits because she was on a contract. So she was just singing in like a lounge band, singing like, I will survive and stuff
yep.
like that, and could not sing any of her hit songs. So you got to be careful with record companies and management
Oh,
companies
yeah.
and agents. I mean, because it's all about tying you up and locking you up because it works two ways.
Stacy,
Number
you
one,
crack.
they
Stacey
yeah
said,
they
yeah, Greg. Nope. We don't know the group. Born 1984.
right and like her career like took off and then it went down.
And it took off.
Yeah, well, the band broke up, and then that was it. She was like singing in lounge bands looking for work. But a
Wow.
lot of the times they try to lock you in because if you do have success, they have a piece of the action.
That's right. Yeah.
But if you don't have success, then they take you out of the game, so you're not in the way, and they
Yeah.
let someone else come up. So it works two ways. So you got to be really, really, really careful. Um,
Yes.
it's really terrible. And the business side of things can be really terrible, terrible.
And
But
that's why I brought you along so that you could have everyone be prepared to know this game. Yeah.
well, and that's part of what I bring to every lesson or class is
And
I,
everything.
I try to give like a worldview. It's like why are we learning this? Why am I talking about this? Well, it has a very specific role, you know, that needs to happen and needs to be learned or needs to be understood because you need to learn the whole picture. You're just not going to sit there and practice and practice and practice and get good and then say, well, now what? And then you're going to listen to everyone trying to take advantage of you. You should have some type of, wherewithal, knowledge about what you want to do and how you want to do it and what are the pitfalls
Yep.
and what is the, advantages or disadvantages because it's baked into everything. And like, so for example, if I'm teaching theory, it's not just talking about terms. It's how do you apply it to what you're doing? And I don't really care what style of music you're into. To understand it, uh, on a conceptual level, or just by looking at it and understanding it, is going to really help you out. Same is true with performance, right? I'm doing a performance. What is it? Performance.
I'm
What is it
pulling up.
called?
Yep, I'm pulling up your classes
Please
now.
do, because I don't remember the names.
I
But
don't remember them either.
it's something about like singer.
Let's see. So you are doing. Wait, where is it? Oh, you're talking about the songwriting performance lab. Yes.
Songwriting performance lab. Okay, so when you're doing something like that, right? And I'm doing this course, right? We're all there and we're all talking about it. We're all performing stuff like that. I'm trying to give you tools, not just to help you improve your performance or select the right music or developing your own artistry. That's all important. Don't get me wrong. But also, it's about what is it going to do? How are you going to get noticed, right? And if you do get noticed, how are you supposed to navigate all of that, right?
Yes.
What are you walking into? Because it's not just, well, here I am with my guitar, I'm going to play a gig. Yeah, it's that, but there's a whole bunch of other things that go along with it. Political things, um, environmental things, location, where you are. If you're in Boise, Idaho, I don't think you're going to be trying to jumpstart your rap career, for example, right? You got to get out of Boise, Idaho, right? So it's a lot of stuff like that. Like, where should you go? Why should you go there? Should you go anywhere? Does the internet provide sort of like a resource and a platform that you can go anywhere really in the world just from your? Yes, that has happened. um, why is Nashville the recording capital of the planet? Why is LA
Yep.
the sort of like showcase capital, right? If you want to go somewhere and do a show, everyone wants to go to LA and do it. Why LA and not Nashville? You record in Nashville, but you perform it. Why, right? So these are things I try to bring into the class to educate and further, give you more tools to understand why it's done this way and how you kind of fit into that, and so you can play the game, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a game, and you're just another piece on the board trying to navigate and move around and get somewhere.
Yep.
um, and a lot of times, as you know, Tiffany, it's like what not to do is just as important as what to do, right?
Yes.
So these are all things that I'm constantly talking about, reminding people about, um, and sort of like tapering and tailoring to each individual student, performer, artist, whatever, to sort of like have them realize exactly what their vision is and set a goal so that they're going in the right direction, and they're doing it the right way, and because it's very easy to get sidetracked, and all of a sudden you're doing one thing and then something comes and blindsides you, and it's like then you get off track, and then you're like, oh, how do I get back on, or should I do this? And so there's a lot to digest and consider, but I try to bring that into the lessons as well as the nuts and bolts of learning, relative
Yes.
minors and all that stuff, and how do you
I just
apply
pulled it
it.
up. It's
You know what I mean?
Wednesdays. 4 to 5, y'all, is Intro to Recording 101. And Intro to Songwriting 101 is from 5 to 6. This is Eastern. Wait, no, this is Pacific. Pacific.
Pacific.
And Wednesdays 7 to 8 is Intro to Music Theory and Harmony. Those are Greg's classes. So next week is Bring a Friend Week. Anybody is welcome to come. Anybody that is not cray. And bring your friends, bring as many friends to these classes and enjoy them. Have a good time. Mark and Gregory, they are legends. Oh, and Greg, you can tell me you started out playing the drums.
Yeah,
Mark did.
I did. I was very young, but yeah, my dad kind of made us both play drums, and what it really did was give us a great sense of rhythm.
Yes.
And you got to be ambidextrous to play drums, right? Because it's like all your both your legs and both your arms are moving. So it taught me sort of how to be coordinated
Yes.
musically, which
Yep.
helps with piano. I mean, basically, what I tell students is like this and this and this. I got to get in the frame. And this is all the same, right? Left and right, left and right. Either drums, guitar, or keyboards. Once you learn, that's why they say if you play piano, it's like a gateway to guitar and other instruments,
Yes, it is.
bass, whatever. Even drums, because if you can learn that right, left, sort of like back and forth, how that
Hey,
functions,
Brenda.
you can, you can, you can easily make a transition. It's that's really what it comes down to. So my dad, he taught us how to play drums, and then from there, Mark went to piano. I went to like bass and guitar and stuff like that. But we always would come back to drums because that's where it kind of starts, right? That's what sets the beat, the tempo, whatever you're listening to is sort of like foundational is the drums, and then you build it from there. Not that everything has to be that way, but 9 out of 10 things, right, have some type of drum beat, which is followed by you stack up the other instruments. And some of those instruments might be kind of totally coordinated with the drums. Some might be completely opposite of what the drums are doing, but foundationally, it starts with the drums. So, and there's plenty of things out there now that you can kind of like create your own beats without actually physically playing the drums. But I try to give the knowledge of how it works and why it works. A hi hat can be thought of as a guitar strum. The bass drum is really what the bass is doing. Snare drum is the
Hi,
backbeat, so that
Tyrone.
so all these things sort of like when you mix it up, it looks like it's a lot of stuff in the pot that you're making, but they all function together, in different ways to make music. So I try to bring a lot of that sort of inside information rather than just saying, this is the note C,
Yeah.
E
Right.
is the major third. I
Yeah.
mean, that's all good and fine, but I like to get into the why, and I like to get into how does it apply to me? How can I use this? How is it going to make me better? Right? I'm into this style of music. I'm into math rock or whatever. How is this going to help me? So I try to sort of break it down so that it's kind of easily digestible for everybody, and you can kind of like incorporate it into yourself rather than just having all this information and be like, what do I do with it? Because that's when it's worthless. I mean, you have to utilize it. So if you take
Absolutely.
these courses, you'll find out, and that's really how I
That's
work.
right. Greg, you are the best.
Oh,
I just
come on,
love you.
I
So,
loves you
guys, what we're
too.
going to do is let's do this, Greg. Next week, if you are able to, let's hop on here and break down each of the courses. Like, how is a
Sure.
class going to be in intro to recording? How's it going to be in intro to harmony and music theory? And if we could just explain to everyone. Um, Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. That's awesome to know where the bass line of music comes from, drums
Oh
and
yeah.
piano. Yes, Stacy. All right. So look, I gotta go hop off and teach a lesson. Gregory, you are the best, the man.
You're the best.
Stop it. I love you. And we will be on here again next week, guys. We are again promoting all of our group classes taught by legendary Gregory Delcore. We've got some of Parker's classes. We have Mark Delcore's classes. They are famous legends and kings. So we'll see you guys. I feel like Barbara Walters.
You're better than Barbara Walters.
Only Barbara Walters better wish. She better wish. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you. Black Queen right here. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Tiffany, thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg. Oh, okay. All right.
What do I do now?
Oh, wait. Hold up. Why isn't it ending?